Hey y'all, the Parking Den here, just coming at you live from St. Louis, Missouri. I want to drop this video here because Six Flags Cedar Fair recently made a pretty big announcement. Really not a surprise, I think, to most of us that pay attention. But if you don't know, Six Flags and Cedar Fair, two different big theme park companies, merged last year in 2024. They acquired all these different properties. Essentially, you had two pretty big theme park corporations merging into one giant theme park corporation. And it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. They're saying now there's just a few too many properties in the chain, and they're going to need to sell some off. They may need to even close some of them. Now, I'm not going to talk about all the different ones and the different possibilities of like what may stay, what's going to go, what's going to close. I mean, there's some obvious ones, of course. Cedar Point is not going to close or be sold or anything like that. But a park I keep hearing people talk about is my hometown park of Six Flags St. Louis. People keep kind of saying this is one that is in danger. Some say it'll stay in the chain, although it seems like that's kind of a minority that are saying that. A lot of people are saying, though, it's either going to close or be sold. Personally, I do not think the park will close. And I base this on a few things. First of all, I live here in St. Louis. I have a pass in many years. I go there quite a bit. Last year in 2024, I was probably there, 20 plus times. I do tend to try to go on the slower days of the week. I do try to go on the days where I know there's not going to be as much business. Even on those days, I do see a good amount of people in the park. In fact, there was a few Wednesdays I was out there, a few Sundays I was out there where there were a lot of people in the park. Now, those few times I was there does not mean the park is always like this. In fact, I think if you look into the numbers of it, Six Flags has said this is a park that is slower more so than it's busy. They definitely would like to get the business up in this park. So I can understand why the sentiment from people might be that this park is an at-risk park. Personally, I don't think it'll close. I would be very shocked actually if this park closes because even though maybe the numbers are not exactly where they want them to be, I don't think things are so bad in this park that it would close. In fact, I think its location alone makes it viable to stay in the chain or very viable for somebody else to come in and purchase this park. I have heard some people talking and saying, oh, actually, the location's not good. It's too far outside of St. Louis. Maybe if you're a tourist and you're staying in the city of St. Louis and you're traveling here, that 45-minute drive is a little too much for you. Although, honestly, if you've traveled to St. Louis and you're going to go to the park anyway, you're going to go to the park anyway. You're not going to get here and be like, it's 45 minutes away. I'm not going. I'm just going to sit in my hotel all day. Like, no, they're still going to go. And to the people that live around St. Louis, most people don't live in the city of St. Louis in this area. They either live in the counties west, south, or north of St. Louis. I mean, for me personally, it's about a 25-minute drive to the park. And I think for most people, it's in that range of about 20 to 30 minutes to get to this park. So I don't think its location is bad at all. I also think location in the country is actually kind of a good thing for this park. It has no other competition in the St. Louis area. And in terms of parks around it, it's about 4 hours away from Kansas City and Worlds of Fun, right? It is about 5 hours away from the Six Flags that's up in Chicago. If you drive 5 to 6 hours to the west, you end up in Cincinnati, right? And you can go to Kings Island. So from that standpoint, I would think personally Cedar Fair would want to keep the park in the chain because I imagine that these corporations that own all these parks, they want to sell passes. They want to encourage people to essentially kind of road trip across the country, right? And be able to go from one park to another each day. So you could be in Worlds of Fun on a Sunday, Six Flags St. Louis on a Monday, over at Kings Island on a Tuesday, and so on. I would think they would want that. And Six Flags St. Louis is central to that, right? It's literally right in the middle of all those parks. For that reason alone, I would think they'd want to keep this park in the chain. I also think just the setup of the park in general is pretty good. After going to a lot of other parks, I know some people say, oh, we don't like the fact that it's built on a little bit of a hill. I mean, there's like kind of one part of the park that's on a hill. The rest of it's fairly flat. It's got a nice little setup. You go in a big circle. You really can't get lost in the park. Like I love Silver Dollar City, but one of my complaints with Silver Dollar City is it has so many dead ends. It doesn't wrap around to another section of the park. Where this park doesn't do that. This park is set up a lot like Kings Island is, where you just kind of go in a big loop around the place, and you can kind of go back to a central location at any time to easily cut across the park to other sections. I also think this park has a really good infrastructure to it. I think it has a lot of great rides. I think it has what I would call good bones, if you would. Some of the areas are very well themed. Some of the areas need work. I mean, I'm not saying this is a perfect park. It's not, okay? I would say that Worlds of Fun in Kansas City, probably better. Kings Island, definitely better, okay? Six Flags over Georgia, which is like 8 hours, down into Georgia, 8 hours away, also probably better, definitely better. Six Flags over Georgia is absolutely better than this park. But this is a park that, with just a little bit of work, I think could be really, really good. I do think that. Sorry, my cat is trying to knock my camera over, even though I'm really just using the mic today. That being said, I think because of its location, because of the rides it has in it, I think that this park is either one they would keep or one they would sell. I could definitely see this park selling. I think that this, out of a lot of the properties that people are talking about that have the potential to sell, I think that this one might be one of the most buyable properties because of its location. If it was to sell with all the rides in it, it has a great base of rides. It just needs some upgrades. It needs some new rides put in. It needs some new coasters put in. And I say coasters, plural. It has been a while since this park has gotten a new roller coaster. And I know Rookie Racer went in 2023, but that's not like that. That's needed. It's necessary. That's a great family coaster. I love riding Rookie Racer. It's not the kind of ride, though, that gets people into the park. This park needs, something like a Giga Coaster or something like a Hyper Coaster or just something new in general, right? It just needs some new coasters, not a transplant from another park, a new ride for this park. And I think that there's potential that if somebody did buy this park, it could be almost best case scenario for it because if a group comes in and purchases this park, one of the first things they're going to do is put in a new roller coaster. It would make no sense for them to not do that. I mean, unless you get a company like maybe Fun Spot that comes in. Even Fun Spot, I think, would purchase a new roller coaster for this park, even if they were to potentially buy it. I would not want Fun Spot to buy this park. That would be probably worst case scenario right there if a company like that did. I think best case scenario could be like Herschend Group, although they just made a big purchase where they bought up the company that owns like Adventureland and Knoebels and things like that. So I would be surprised if this park was for sale if Herschend purchased it. If you don't know who Herschend is, they're the group that owns Dollywood and Silver Dollar City and Kentucky Kingdom. I mean, I would absolutely love it if they bought this park because they would turn it into a real theme park, not an amusement park. They would turn it into a true theme park like they're doing with Kentucky Kingdom right now, and they would definitely invest in some new rides. However, I think with the purchase they just made of all the other new properties they bought, I don't think they would purchase this park. Another group that I would love to see buy this park might be like Busch Gardens, SeaWorld. I think they would be another really good choice to pick up this park, especially since it is located in the St. Louis area, which is the original home of Anheuser-Busch. That could be kind of cool too. Personally, though, I don't think the park's going to sell. I think they're going to keep it in the chain. I think it's going to stay part of the Six Flags Cedar Fair chain because it does connect together several parks if you want to take a big park road trip. And I think this is a park that, with a little bit of investment, can easily become just as good as Worlds of Fun, just as good as even, maybe, dare I say it, Kings Island. Like, I know people might be like, that's crazy. There's no way this park could ever be as good as Kings Island. I think it could be. I really do. If they just put investment in it. If they start putting rides in this park like they did Six Flags over Georgia, this park will take off in no time. People will come to this park. It'll be a destination park for people that are outside the area, and people in the St. Louis area will also be wanting to go to this park again. One of the main reasons why people in the St. Louis area probably aren't going to this park as much is because there's been no major investments in the park. Yeah, we got Joker Carnival of Chaos. Yeah, they put Rookie Racer in, okay? But that's not enough. We need more than just that, more than just transporting a ride from another park up to this park. Give us a new unique roller coaster or roller coasters. I do think that the announcement of Titan Track on the Boss is a really good sign. I think that's a sign. I don't know how much of that got done in the off season. I don't know if the whole thing is getting the treatment or if it's just like the more rough spots. But if the Boss could get to being something that people really want to ride again, it becomes kind of this desirable thing where it's not hurting you when you're getting off. If you don't know Titan Track, it's just a different type of track that goes on the roller coasters. It's supposed to make them run a lot smoother, a lot faster, and the boss needs that. The boss has gotten to the point where there's a lot of times when I go, I don't ride the boss because it is too rough. I just can't handle it. And this is a ride that like should be the best roller coaster in the park, but it's not right now because it's just so dang rough. So putting Titan Track on it. I don't know how much went in the off season. I don't know if they intend to do the whole thing with it. I hope they do. But putting Titan Track on it could be a step in the right direction and could be a sign that they intend to keep this in the chain. In a few weeks, this park will open up. I won't be there opening weekend, but I'll be there the weekend afterwards, and I'll take you guys along and we'll kind of check it out and see, is the park getting any kind of treatment, any signs that they're going to keep it in the chain? Something that people are already showing is going on at Six Flags Over Georgia because they've opened for the season already. That park has been kind of what people are calling Cedar Fairified, okay? Meaning it's looking a lot more like a Cedar Fair park. They're painting it up to look more like a Cedar Fair park. They're taking out a lot of Six Flags stuff from the park and they're making it look more like a Cedar Fair park, which I'm all for because the Cedar Fair parks are beautiful. They're absolutely amazing. I think if we see like the Cedar Fair style drink stations are going in around the park, right? They've painted it up kind of like a Cedar Fair park. That's going to be a big time sign that they intend to keep this park in the chain. So we'll see. I'll take you guys along in a couple weeks and we'll see. What do you guys think? Six Flags St. Louis, will it stay? Will it go? Will it close? Comment below. Let me know your thoughts. All right, friends. Take care, and I'll see you all later.